In the early 1980s, well before I was born, my mother was teaching in Jackson, Mississippi. It was a very hectic job, and she was glad to get back home every day a little after 3 o'clock. The first thing she would do would be to change into her running gear and go for a run. She was never a fast runner. Normally, she would do about a 10-minute mile, but she continued running because fitness is good. She started out on the run one day, but there was a problem with the door to the apartment she and my dad lived in. The apartment was on the second story. As she closed the door, the lock to the apartment gave her trouble in closing and locking the door. Every time she would leave or come, it would usually take her 5 or 10 minutes to get the door locked. She and my dad often talked about getting the lock fixed on the door, but so far they had not done so. Finally, the apartment was locked, and off she went for her daily run. My mom was getting toward the middle of the run when suddenly a jogger came up beside her. He was tall and thin, had curly gray hair and blue eyes. He started off talking, asking questions like, "Where do you live? Do you jog every day?" etc. After a few minutes, my mom began to get uncomfortable with the personal tone he was using while asking quesitons. She stopped answering them. Finally, she saw a street, and she knew that if she cut over on that street, she could run back home. She tried to tell the man, "I gotta go now. Bye." Then she turned down the street and started heading home. A few seconds later, she thought she heard footsteps behind her. Not wanting to turn around to see who it was, she continued as fast as she could, probably reaching a 9 or 8 minute mile as she flew past. Finally, she saw the door to their apartment building. She ran up the stairs, saying to herself, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus, help me." She got to the door, holding onto the keys. She slipped them into the lock as quickly as she could and turned them, and the door opened right away. She ran inside, locking the door, and pressed herself against the far wall of the apartment, completely out of breath. Seconds later, she heard a stiff but friendly knock on the door. "Who is it?" my mom said, her voice cracking. The gray-haired man she met on the run said, "You know who I am, and you know what I want." Now she was completely and totally afraid, and she yelled back, "You had better get out of here, or I will call the police." She did not move. A minute or two later, she heard footsteps going down the stairs. No one else was in the apartment building. After waiting a few minutes, still not moving, she was pretty sure that the man was gone. Across the street was a prayer ministry called Bethel House of God. She called there and explained to them what happened and asked them if she could come over and if they would wait for her on the lawn. They said of course they would. She waited until they might be on the lawn. Then she rushed out of the apartment, ran down the stairs, then ran across the street. My dad didn't come home until maybe an hour or so later, but he soon got to hear about it. Sure enough, every other time, the lock would still stick and take 5 or 10 minutes to fix. My mom was thankful for how God got the lock to work immediately that one time.